So these are the tools that you'd normally use for day-to-day lead works. I use these on upstands. These are just clamps. Help you start your welds off, and it's easy to get it to hold it when you're doing vertical welding, because you need to start off with a rod, I find, and you've just got your bolster chisel. I don't use spring-loaded snips. I prefer these tin snips that I bought online. They're about a tenner. Bevel for your angles, and these are your cleaning tools, which is a wire brush to clean the lead off. Just cleans it up nice and quick with a wire brush. And this is how most people clean it off. I use a wire brush most of the time on clean lead, but if you've got dirty lead, use a scraper or a shave hook, and what you do is you just clean it off like so. The colour changes, so that's now clean lead as opposed to dirty lead. So that's clean and dirty. And obviously you got your normal dresser, your flat dresser as well. So what we're going to do now, you got a scrap piece of lead you've got laying around, and you clean it off. Just need to clean it off, get the lead nice and clean. And you cut your rod. Your rod is your filling stick, if you will, to weld. So that's how you should be welding pretty much any type of lead. You just get a rod like that. And you want to make sure you clean both sides. It is easier to cut your rod first. Now you've got your Modulo torch for lead, nice and light, so you should be using a Modulo torch for lead work. You just turn it up, your fuel up, F for fuel, O for oxygen. So turn your fuel on first. You want it about a 2 inch flame, like that. It's a bit windy today, so it can knock the flame out. But you want a 2 inch flame at start. Oh, I haven't actually got my oxygen on. So you've got your 2 inch flame. You need to slowly introduce your oxygen. Like that. Right, now we actually got it. Taking a few attempts there. So that's a reasonably hot flame, and what you're looking for is a white flame. So if it's purple, it's too much oxygen, and if it's kind of see-through, it's too much fuel. That's about perfect there on neutrality, so it's neutral to fuel and oxygen. So what we do, this is a butt weld, so they're both just joined together, and what I'll do is I'll just start that off like that. That's called a tack, just there. And this is good for practicing if you're starting to weld. I'm not a lead worker. I've been a roofer for years, but only doing lead work for the last 2 years. So, but like anyone, had to start somewhere, and now I can do it as a job, you know, and earn some money from it. So, but we'll start somewhere. So you want to tack it like that. Like that. So that's how it's called dropping in a rod. So you need to drop your rod in. So what you do, because it's easier than it looks to actually get a neat weld and a strong weld is what you want. So you need to get the lead to a point where it's molten, like that. It needs to be molten lead, and that's what bonds lead together when it's molten. It won't bond otherwise, so you'll just be dropping lead in, but it won't stick. So it needs to go clear, like clear silver is at the point where it's molten, and then that's where you drop your rod in. So it has to be clear. And then you go like that all the whole way. Because I'm right-handed, I've just turned that round. Make it easier for myself. Like that, you drop it in, and then you get the welds on top of each other. Like that. Nice and easy to start off with. You know, it's good practice just do it on a flat surface. You know, you don't want any you want something underneath it, because the heat wants to melt the lead. So when it kind of helps it if you've got it on something flat. You know, and the reason you put your tacks in all the way along is because you don't want the lead to move away, because the heat expands and attracts it. You know, if I just bring this closer, you can see that that's the point where it's melted. There, molten. There. Has to be molten lead to weld to. I can't stress that enough. That's molten. Hold it. That's molten. That's what will bond your lead there. If you're this far away from it, it takes a long time to get it molten. So that's how you get a few welds on there. You know, like I say, if you're just a roofer and want to practice welding, this is how I would do it with a butt weld. It's the easiest weld to do, I think. So now you've started your weld, you can come along this the whole way. You know, this will only take a couple of minutes to do. And if you're not happy with with the weld there. You know, if you think, oh, I can touch a bit up, you always can go back along it, you know, and adjusting of it to make it look neater. You can always go back on parts of it if you want to. You know, that's okay, you know. But like I say, I'm not a lead worker that's been doing it 50 years, you know. I've only been doing it 2, but I'm okay, you know. Good idea, and like I say, I can do it as a job. So yeah,